Hi friends, it's Haley, and today I'm going to be doing a book haul. I haven't done a book haul in quite a bit, and I decided, what the heck. Usually I decide I'm not going to do book hauls, and then I get an accumulation of books, and I decide I want to do a book haul, so I have a lot to share with you today. I always like watching book hauls from other people's channels, but I feel like when I do them, it's super repetitive, and I don't know a lot about the books I'm buying, which is a problem. And I have a hard time talking about them because I don't know how they are or what they're about most times. So today I thought I would talk about who I heard about the book from, or if I know anything about the book, why I decided to pick it up. Try to make it a little different. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I like having book hauls on my channel because I like to look back and see what books I still need to read, and I feel like it's just super motivating to pull out the books I bought and talk about them, and it makes me want to read them, which is the goal. So, without further ado, let's just get into it. I don't have them in any order. Some of them span a couple months since the last book haul I had was I checked, it was 4 months ago. Sorry, coffee break. Side note, isn't this mug so cute? It says, "Don't go breaking my heart." And the other one that matches it says, "I couldn't if I fried," and it has a fried egg on it. But anywho, that's totally a side note. So let's get into it. So this is the first book I got. I pre-ordered it. I still haven't read it. It's Sarah Dessen's new book, The Rest of the Story. I don't know much about it other than it's probably a summer romance because that's what Sarah Dessen is known for. I'm super excited to get to this. I'm trying to finish my reread of Sarah Dessen to get to it. I'm not doing terribly well. I have a couple books left and I could just push and do it. It's just reading's been different for me this summer, so I'm trying not to just read a bunch of things I feel like I have to read and read the things I want to read, but I do want to finish the reread before I get to this. So it's kind of a conundrum, but I will get to this eventually, and I'm super excited to read this. This is the first book out of a new publisher. She just went with a new publisher, so I'm curious if that would change anything, or I don't know. I'm just curious. I'm excited to have this. This is the exclusive Barnes & Noble edition, so there's that. This next book was a thrift store find. It's super old. It's Left Behind by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins. It's a Christian book about the end of the rapture, the end times. I never read this. I was going to read the junior edition when I was a kid, but the library never had the right number for me to get started, I guess number 1. And they just had random books out of the series, so I never got started with it. And now I'm old enough to read the adult version. And a friend was talking to me about it a few weeks ago, and I realized I probably would get something out of reading it. I don't know. So I decided, I found it at the thrift store for super cheap, and I decided to pick it up and give it a try. So that's all I really know about it. It's been a couple cheesy movies at some point. But yeah, I'm curious about this, and I'm hoping to give it a try eventually. This next one was a super exciting thrift store find. It's called Neverworld Wake by Marissa Pestle. I don't know much about this, and I probably just butchered your name, so sorry. I don't know much about this, but it's been on YouTube a lot. A lot of people on Goodreads have given it a high star rating, and I was really curious, and it was a thrift store find, like I said, so I just wanted to pick it up. The next fun thrift store find was The Death of Miss Westaway by Ruth Ware. Again, I don't know much about this, but Books and Lala, she really talked very highly about this, and it made me very curious. I did read one other Ruth Ware, which was something about the woman in cabin 10. It was the boat mystery or whatever. I did not really enjoy it. I didn't like a lot of elements of it. I think I gave it a very low rating. But Lala said that her books get better and they're different, and she really liked this one. So I wanted to give it a try. And it was a thrift store, so I was super excited. This next one is really random, but I found it at the thrift store and I was very curious about it, so I picked it up. And that is The Shadow Divers, The True Adventures of Two Americans Who Risked Everything to Solve One of the Last Mysteries of World War II. And I don't know much about it other than that, obviously. it's just a true story talking about divers, and I was just really curious about it. So, again, I picked it up. The next one is Waiting for Tom Hanks, and by Carrie Winfrey. This just sounded like everything I like in a romantic book thing. I don't know what I'm saying, but it just sounded perfect. I'm going to read you the little back blurb because it sold me on it. And yeah. Annie Cassidy dreams of being the next Nora Ephron. She spends her days writing screenplays, rewatching Sleepless in Seattle, and waiting for her perfect meet cute. If she could just find her own Tom Hanks, a man who's sweet, sensitive, and possibly owns a houseboat, her problems would disappear and her life would be perfect. But Tom Hanks is nowhere in sight. When a movie starts filming in her neighborhood and Annie gets a job on a set, it seems like a sign. Then Annie meets the lead actor, Drew Danforth, a cocky prankster who couldn't be less like Tom Hanks if he tried. Their meet cute is more of a meet fail, but soon Annie finds herself sharing some classic rom-com moments with Drew. Her Tom Hanks can't be an actor who's leaving town in a matter of days, can he? I mean, this sounds perfect. It's just totally my cup of tea. One of my favorite movies is You Got Mail. I'm not a big Sleepless in Seattle fan. I know it's very popular, but You've Got Mail is where it's at. But yeah, this just sounds so good. And it just sounds like everything I want. So I'm hoping it's really good. I saw a lot of people talking about it, and I don't know now that people have read it if they've liked it, but it sounds like something that I would really like. Actors and romantic comedies, and it sounds like everything I would need. So I bought this at my local bookstore. The next book I got under exciting different pretenses is, if that's the right wording, Let Me Hear Rhyme by Tiffany D. Jackson, with lyrics by Malik 16 Sheriff, I think. This is an ARC copy. It already came out on April 15th, 2019. I got this copy from my local bookstore. She had it and she wanted me to read it and tell her about it. Sadly, I still haven't gotten to it. I mean, she didn't give it to me in April. It's been like since July. But I haven't gotten to it yet. But I started reading it and it was really interesting. Basically, what I know about it is their friend dies, and they try to make him famous, his music famous, after the fact, because his music wasn't famous when he was alive. That's pretty much what I think it's about, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm curious about this. The next book I got was Hunted by Megan Spooner. I don't know much about this, but it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, or it still is, a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it called to me off the shelf. So I picked it up. Don't know much about it. But it said A Beauty Deadlier Than the Beast. And I was like, ooh, intrigued. I don't really like I'm not drawn to a lot of fantasy things, but that one really just attracted me. So I picked it up. The next book's a little off of the beaten path, but it's called The Road Back to You, An Enneagram Journey to Self-Discovery, and it's by Ian Morgan Crone and Suzanne Stabile. I picked this up off of the recommendation of Annie F. Downs. She does a whole Enneagram part of her podcast, and I reference this book a lot. And a friend of mine read it like on a plane home, and she said it really helped her understand the whole Enneagram thing. Sorry, my cat's like at the door trying to get in. She said it helped her really understand the whole Enneagram thing, and I'm still struggling to know for sure what my number is, so I thought this would help me. The next one I have is Always Never Yours. Every Guy She Dates Falls Madly in Love, Just Not With Her, by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. I'm so sorry. I don't, names, they escape me. I don't know much about this, except for, like, basically what the tagline says and what the back says, but a bunch of booktubers have talked about this, and it just sounds like a contemporary that I would really like, and that I could relate to very much. But we're not going to get into my personal woes. But, like, yeah, so I just was very curious in this, and it sounded really good. The next one is another Ruth Ware, In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. I guess I'm just giving her all of the second chances. This one I picked up because Lily Reinhart from Riverdale, she posted that she was reading it, and that it was getting her back into reading, I think, and that she was really loving it. And right after that, I went to Target and I saw it there and I picked it up because I was like, well, Lily Reinhart talked about it. And it has a really cool cover, and I'm just in the mood. I feel like I'm just in the mood for this kind of book, even though I have not been reading them. But I've been picking up a lot of these types of books in hopes to read them. Oh, my foot's falling asleep. Another book is Final Girls by Riley Sager. I picked this one up pretty sure because of Books and Lala. Again, she talked a lot about it. It sounded like really interesting and not like something that I read a whole lot. And it came in this like, I don't know, it was really cheap because it came in the mass market paperback, but it's like longer. Anywho, that's beside the point. I don't know much about it other than it's like a thriller and that she talked highly of it. And a lot of people have been talking highly of it, so yeah. The next one's a little different for me. This is The Body by Stephen King. I haven't read any Stephen King, but I found out that Stand By Me is based off this book, which I didn't know, which is probably public information, and everybody knows it. But shortly after I found that out, I found this book at Target, and I started reading it. I haven't gotten too far. I read to page 65, and I was enjoying it pretty much. Yeah, I would have never thought I would pick up a Stephen King. It's just not usually my cup of tea, or I'm not interested in his stuff. But I was curious about this, and it's super short, so I thought it would be a good book to read. I still haven't finished it, but that's another story for another day. This book was also a thrift store find. It's called Palo Alto by James Franco. I don't know what possessed me to pick up this book, other than I found it at the thrift store, and it was James Franco. I know nothing about it, other than Books and Lala read it on her channel, and I'm pretty sure she did not like it. But it's pink, and it was so cheap, and it's James Franco, and I was just like so curious. So I picked it up, even though I don't know why. I have a problem, as you can see. The next book I have is Today Will Be Different by Marie Semple, and she wrote Where'd You Go, Bernadette, which I liked a lot of elements of Where'd You Go, Bernadette. It fell flat for me in some places, but I still wanted to pick up another one of her books because I feel like I might like it for different reasons. So I picked up this one because it was at the thrift store, and I've heard good things, I think, and yeah, I don't know anything about it other than what like I read at the store and was like, yeah, I think I could jive with it. I think I'm just down to one more, and that is Jacoby by William Ritter. And honestly, the thing that got me to buy this book, I bought it at Barnes & Noble for like full freaking price, and the reason I bought it, pretty much I could promise you, was this Chicago Tribune quote or blurb on the cover of the book says, "A Sherlock Holmes crossed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer." And I was like, sold. I think it's a vampire story, and it's so pretty. Like, look at this cover. It really just gave me Stalking the Jack the Ripper vibes, and I really liked that book, so I was curious about this. Okay, so that was my book haul. These are the books I bought. Let me know if you've read any of them, or which book you think I should read first. I would love to hear your feedback. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day. Make good choices. Okay, bye.